I am doing a test to see if something as low-powered, quote-unquote, as what I am doing can be streamed to multiple places, unlike Phasmophobia, which gets incredibly angry anytime we do anything inside that game. We shall see. If it is choppy at all, I will end it. Dramatic? Maybe. True? Yes. Alright, so today I am editing a picture of Al that I took many years ago. And I will be doing some hands-on depth. How do I put this? Adding depth, dodge and burn, and color editing. I am just trying to make sure that everything is flowing okay. Yeah, good enough. Let's do this. Chewy! Hello, hello. I'm gonna do more hands-on stuff today. Alright, I think I'm gonna start with this one. It's been a while since I have... Hello, or, Marimbescent. Wait, I always put the emphasis on that wrong. Also, I'm pretty sure because I am streaming to many places at once that I am going to be quite delayed in responding to things. But if you guys have any questions, and if you can't hear me, tell me if you can hear me, because last time, remember, my mic wasn't on. So, because I have such strong highlights on this, I'm going to go ahead and start with the exposure just a little bit under, and then work the shadows as I see fit. I generally edit probably a little bit more shadowy than I should. Why, hello, Poop Face. So glad you could join us. Very polite followers here. I always get permission from my models before I... Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Shmee. No. I remembered that I had gotten last year during the sales, winter sales, I had gotten some tutorials for from artists that I admire, and I have not watched them. So I think that I will maybe make a project each week based on what I am learning to see what I can add or subtract from my art. Yes, healthy. So right now I'm kind of laying the base of what I want to see and what I want to emphasize, not emphasize. I know a few people, yeah, I'm excited to try something new, even though I'm still always playing with what I know. I hear clicking, but the screen isn't changing. What happened? Oh, you're right. I don't know. I don't know why that didn't change. Let's see. It's because I did that. All right, this is where we were. This is where we are. That's interesting. It is not changing. I would like you to do what I want. Oh, good. Okay. So now it's just gone. As is what happens when I try new things. Let this be a warning to you all. Yeah, that was really subtle changes. Okay, so that's what I've been working on, but let me take off the changes that I just made and see if it changes for you. You can see my mouse moving. Change is bad. Yes. Okay, let me do something drastic just to make sure. It's a bit glitchy, isn't it? Interesting. All right, well, it is changing though, so I'll take it. All right, so this is the picture that I'm editing. Hello and welcome. So, great, good. This is where we were. This is where we're at, and I'm just going. I made some tone changes here while you were watching something else, and now I am just starting color, and I'm just making sure. Generally, with a picture like this, I won't get any reds, any yellows. Just a tease, yes. Well, you know, I just gotta get you guys to call things out. I have to make sure you're awake, like me. All right, so obviously a lot of what I'm going to be working in is going to be in aquas, blues, and sometimes purples, although magenta is usually just the lips. Chewy, what's your next photography adventure? I do like that pop of color, and I'll probably bring her skin tones back in. I'm mostly editing for her dress at the moment. All right, let's see. Playing with a lot of shadow today. I'm going to edit this one, and then I think this one as well. I really like the... Oh, we're going to Balboa tomorrow morning to catch the moonset with the tower. It's amazing. I don't think you were here when I mentioned that I am learning time-lapse right now. I am very excited. Do you have a gimbal or anything like that that you use for any of that stuff? Or are you stable? I kind of feel like the fairies in Sleeping Beauty when I mess with color. Just tripod. I want a star tracker. Me too. I started decking out my telescope last year. Great timing. We had so much smoke in the sky all summer that we couldn't even go outside, much less stargaze. So that was fun. Messing around with Planet Pro app, and it's my absolute favorite. It's got all the things. I need to see what I have, because I have something awesome that actually came with my telescope. I know, no more smoke, please. It's a beautiful day today. I'm actually looking forward, if we do get rain next week, or this week now, for... I like that. We'll do that. Let me just check that overall look. Yeah. I just added some purple in there so that there's some difference in... Sorry, Al. Some color. It's the idea of color. Okay, I think I do have the non-pro version of that, or the one that was suggested if you are me and don't want to pay. But if you vouch for it, I'm gonna get it. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna bring out those purples just a little bit with this highlight. That way it's just got a little variety. Natty Lou, hello. You missed the tech part of the show. The working through our problems part of the show. Yeah. I'll try to, oh, please do. Try to send a screenshot of the time lapse section. Does your maths? That sounds amazing. Okay, so Chewy and all of you. I took a class that I had been avoiding when I first learned welding. Oh my gosh, 13, 14? No, not 13. No, that's not the number I want. See how good I am with math? 7 and 8 years ago is when I learned to weld. And I avoided the math class because I could get away with just welding without that. And it's basically basic math, and that's fine. But I decided, whatever, I'll take it during last semester because I had the time. And it was terrible. It was the person who was supposed to be running it, supposedly, he is the fabrications boss, not the welding boss, but the fabrications boss, like the machining. He never replied to any emails throughout the entire semester, and then opened up all of the tests, which were exactly the same, so that you could just get a perfect score and he didn't have to teach a darn thing, which was so upsetting because I went in trying to learn something new. I'm just fixing distortion. I use a slightly fisheye lens. I use a landscaping lens, so it does a little push and pull of people. And sometimes, like if I'm a little further back, this one isn't cropped, so you can tell I'm pretty close up. It's not too bad because the center of the lens isn't as distorted, but when I'm close like that, the models start to get pushed and pulled. All right, do I want to change shadow at all? I doubt it. There's just not much in there to work in here. All right, so Lightroom so far, this is where we started. This is where we're at. I'm liking it so far. I'm sure I'll hate it by the end, just kidding. All right, so let's do a little bit of this. So this is my shadow side. I'm going to bring the exposure down a bit to darken that. I'm going to bring the blue up just a little bit, or not that much. Just a wee hint. I don't think I'll want purple. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. That's why I check. I don't generally do contrast anymore. I used to rely on it a lot to begin with, and then realized that I can do a lot more by just adjusting shadows and such. There. A little bit of up, a little bit of down. I miss being pushed and pulled by you. Yes. You are on my list. You can't see my list down here, but I actually have a few of you out of the water as well that will be coming up. Although you are being warned now, I'm going to be doing some artistic things to your soul, to your tiny piece of soul that I have captured. All right, on this side, I don't want to bring the highlights up, but I do want to bring the shadows up a bit, I think. Maybe I don't. What do I want to bring up? That's fine. It's not really touching that, so what I'll do instead is right here. Let's bring her up a bit. What's it like to have a soul? Well, you know, I am not a redhead, but I do have red in my hair, so I'm not sure if that means that I stole someone's soul and so now I have one, but it's borrowed, or if it means that a redhead stole my soul and now I'm becoming one. There are many mysteries in this life that can be a little disturbing the deeper you go. All right, guys, you heard it here. Having a soul is a lot like acid reflux. That's amazing. I can't say that it isn't. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I had a feeling that you meant something like that. All right, let's add some detail here. I don't think I want clarity. No, we'll do clarity stuff later. A little bit more hands-on. All right. Okay, I think I'm ready to move on to Photoshop one more time. This is where we were. This is where we're at. I know that can seem like a huge push with her, but gotta put her back on the plane that she's meant to be on. You thought she was swimming? She's actually flying. All right, now let's see if I can get us over into Photoshop. Oops, without breaking anything and pushing the wrong buttons. So wait, if you don't have a soul, that means you don't have to drink, right? Dun, dun, dun. I think it worked. Oh, good, and I'm not too far behind you guys now. I think the delay that I thought that we were having was because my screen wasn't moving. Why do you do this to me? Get out of here. Go on. Thank you. Okay. I have watched people make any change and then flatten their layers, and I still can't handle that. I'm gonna have to be a little bit more precise, I think, with how I want to deal with this background, because I do like the bubble. I don't always like bubbles. Okay, good. I don't have a feather on. But sometimes I do, which is a darn good thing when you're working underwater, but honestly, bubbles do more harm than good, in my opinion. And then there's some people, which is totally fine, they will add bubbles in. And I feel that's sort of like stabbing someone after removing a dagger from their chest, which I think is rude. It's like injury to injury. And I think that it's better done with an insult. I do have some standards, you see. Never flatten. Thank you. You are an artist and a scholar. And I believe in your opinion. Unless you said something I disagreed with, and then you're insane. But, all right, so a lot of this lighter, or well, darker area, I am going to reduce to dark. Very flattened, not flattened, deepened. Okay, so Chewy says, I just learned about ISO invariance this week. Turns out my camera has the same data in ISO 100 through 500, and then from ISO 640 to, wow, 51,200. Boosting the exposure in post is the same as bumping ISO within those ranges on camera. It's wild. Okay, so that I've been boosting because, you know, if you're shooting in darker environments, moving people as much as they try to stay still for you sometimes when you need it, you need to underexpose. So that's really good to know that I'm not overly damaging things, if I'm reading that correctly. And then Eric, of course, says, standards, pff, morals tomorrow, comedy tonight. I did tell you guys about, I think we already talked about the that version of King Lear, right? Where they made it into a dark comedy and began it with On My Way to the Forum, a comedy tonight. and it made me incredibly sad. Depends on your sensor. Okay, and you use... Did you switch to Sony, or are you still on... Okay, that's what I thought. Canons are... Oh, Canons don't have ISO invariants, I believe. Sony does. Not sure about Nikon. Considering... Oh, yeah. I didn't tell you this. Marimbicent. You were on Sony. Okay, sweet. You were Canon. Then you switched to Sony. Is that correct? After you came back, I think that was the first thing you got, right? And then I have Nikon. Generally, they just don't improve things until they're forced to. So, and there's a lot that I like about it, but the main reason I use it is because I had a film camera given to me, and so I had the lenses already. So, yeah. Let's do some skin work. If you had, I must have removed it from my memory. Okay, short version, just to scar you again, in case I have told you. It started like that. Then we went from that to incredibly good acting. But the problem was that they continuously added, I just missed twice, strange elements to the costume and to what was going on around the actors. So when a certain character loses a certain limbs, that character winds up with 2 knives for arms. And she was, well, she was wearing a white jumpsuit. And then when 2 other characters that caused her this damage are captured, and this was at Old Globe, by the way, not in London. They did a heavy backlight, so the light was streaming from the pit, that extra, they can do the second story, the basement. They shined lights straight up at her, so she was basically a shadow. So she has these 2 swords for hands. She starts to go towards them while they're screaming in the out of sight, but shadows. And then he had it coming, started blasting. And then after her descent, limbs start, and intestines and blood and heads start being tossed out of the pit. I was with a bunch of college students, and even they were horrified at just how far we'd fallen. So I like keeping some light play on her face, but not if it looks like something that doesn't belong. I think that's a freckle, so I try to keep people's actual skin specialities there. But it's also incredibly cold, and obviously her skin tone is taken out because of the water, but we do get a little splotchy from the cold as well. Art, does it get better than it was cheaper that way? Exactly. Feel like good ideas were originally brought up and then were never edited. Exactly. And I think the same thing happened when they did a production of Cleopatra. I almost said Arnold and Cleopatra. That's a slightly different version. Antony and Cleopatra. Everything was going fine. And then like 20 minutes into it, it's only probably felt like 20 minutes, it's probably 5 minutes, the guard comes in and dies. And as he dies, he twirled like 3 times and threw rose petals up into the air and then died. So that went downhill real fast. What Nikon am I on now? Okay, so my original, and I think that I was actually, might have still been shooting with it here, although if I was using the landscape lens, probably not. So I have the D90, and then I recently, when everyone started switching to Sony, I started watching for the sales, and I found someone selling a D810 for a fantabulous price. So I grabbed that, and I am very happy. I know that I would have been thrilled with the D850, but I really needed to upgrade at that point for some wedding photography and such. And the light sensor is just really bad on the D90, and night shooting and underwater shooting was really tough the whole time. So with the D810, it has improved my my color grab and light grab so much. I think I'm still D90 on this one because typically the skin tones, there'd just be a little bit more to begin with in Lightroom. Yeah, I think I got it. Oh, you know what? Yes, I got it right before my last 3 shoots, which were so good. And then the world did its thing. So, and I was recovering from an arm injury anyway, so I was already behind in creating things. All right, now I'm gonna do some frequency separation, which I used to do by hand, and it's just so much easier to use a shortcut. I made one, but I think when Photoshop updated last time, it murdered mine, so I just put in, I think I downloaded Flern's. That must not be the right one, though, because it didn't ask me. Yeah, that wasn't the right one. So I'm just making a copy of that so that I can start anew. I think it's marked as Flern. I downloaded these, I think after I upgraded last, and I have not used any of them but frequency separation. Is this the one I use? Oh yeah, this is not the one I use. It tries to tell me what I'm doing. It's fairly smooth on her body. Yeah, let's do this for the face. Trucks. Okay. Although maybe they just updated the one I had been using with more instruction, which is nice. All right. Oh, what am I doing? I always forget to feather. I think I'll just do 15. I'm kind of trying to create fake skin, which I will then be layering over anyway with some dodge and burn. And I'm going to smooth it out with a little fantasy touches. Gotta love that fantasy. You can kind of get away with a lot of stuff if you're like, oh yeah, I'm making fine art. Anything go wrong in the studio, edit it until there's nothing left. Don't really do that. It's probably not good for your artistic soul. All right. Great. Now, a little trick that I learned, if I can remember it. Down to 5%. You use clone brush. Unfortunately, I didn't learn why one does this. But if you put a layer in between and then clone, that was the suggestion. I think I've used it for like one thing that I did. I think it's technically like a version of dodge and burn because you just really subtly add. I also remember last time didn't wind up doing much. You know what? I'm gonna skip that. Okay. I'll look at color now. I'm going to see if I want her to have a little bit more natural color. So this is going to be all focused on her. And I don't know why I did that. I need to actually add the color to remember. And then I'd like to not have that much red. I'm gonna have to be editing it out anyway, but all right, I think that's okay to start as a base. So that's how I, before I learned how to use Lightroom, I did all of my color grading or adding and adjusting with curves, which is fine, but it really does help to have a few different steps. Also, Al, if you wind up here, say hi. Try to warn people before I edit their faces, but alright, that'll be fine for now. And then sometimes I like to do actually don't like that as much. Whee! Perfect. Yeah, let's stick with that. I'll fix the reds in post. I'll edit that. Alright, you're still gonna be like that, huh? No worries. Alright, we're jumping down to blues because I know that's where most of my stuff is. So this is just working as another layer to make the skin tone more natural. What I might do too. Yeah, I'm just gonna start here so I can look at it a little bit more clearly. Warning people before editing their faces seems to change importance based on what tool is being used to do it. Well, I did write a short story for my class many years ago about dentistry. It was possibly in the horror genre. It was a good time had by all. Pretzel Rocks is comes with the studio. My word. It is impressive how short the songs are just so that they can fill the chat. I refuse to pay. I was going to do what Tipsy suggested, and then I realized, oh, it's the time I like to stream, so maybe I should do that. Okay, so now... What are you doing? Get out of here. I still have some tricks to eliminate some of that blue that doesn't like to leave. And I could connect the two layers, but I'm not going to. I just feel like I like to make individual adjustments a little bit more different. Words. Who need them? I'll call this skin. My folder of skin. Alright. So now make it subtler. That's better. Just needs a hint. Okay, looks like your sensor is ISO invariant. That's good, right? I'm still learning about all of it, but I think it's most useful in underexposing to save highlights and pulling the shadows in post. Yay! I subconsciously did something right? That's so rare. Folder of skin isn't creepy at all. I know this and you know this, but there are people out there. Goodnight Moon is a lovely book. I'll admit to nothing on the second, or on the former, I should say. Okay. I was wondering if I wanted to keep this. I'm not positive. I'm going to try eliminating it. I think I'm going to like the... Wait. Yeah, see the feather. Sometimes I do an edit. I'm like, why is that just not working? Maybe because you left feather on from your last edit. What just happened? What did I do? Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Alright, hold on. I always forget about you. Frequency separation. What did I just turn on? Okay. What would you rather? Someone read you to sleep with Goodnight Moon, or the necro... No. I can never say words. They're so long and hard. Nope. Anyway, Necronomicon. I just want to say Comic-Con. It would be like, wait, a Necro Comic-Con would not be good. Do not attend. Do not buy tickets. I was right. I was right all along. Yeah, I had no idea about the sensor thing. Will's mentioned about that blue filter or the red filter removal that you've mentioned in the past. But there's so much. There are so many little tricks that are just so interesting to find out about. I assume higher ISO, more noise, but I guess not always. Yeah, exactly. Always stuff to learn. Totally. I think depending on the darkness, of the day, I should say, like if I'm using a black background, if I have the sun coming from a certain way, safety-wise, I still stick to around 500 ISO. Just playing, always playing. All right, let's do overall color. Actually, let's do a little bit more skin because let's show a little bit more skin, shall we? I think it's time. All right. Now this I'm going to connect down. Save myself some trouble. I'd like a little less yellow, but I don't want to add blue. A really important thing too, I shoot with many different models with many different skin types, skin tones. Know what your model looks like in real life so that you can do justice to their skin tones and such. If you are adjusting skin tone. If it's blue, we're all blue. Abadi abadai. But if you are going to be putting back their skin tone, do it right. Know thyself, know thy model. Hello, Mason. This is the Slow Mondays. I am editing underwater photography that I take during the summer when I can. And generally in a shoot, I will only edit maybe 5 pictures because it takes a lot of time and effort to only get a couple shots, which is hard for the models because I know how frustrating it can be to not get a lot of pictures for the amount of time and effort that goes into a shoot. It can take 5 hours, and that's basically 1 shot per hour. But also I try to revisit, see if I can do a little bit more in the future. All right, great. This is probably not the best workflow. We have indoor cats, and they like chasing the squirrels and rabbits as they walk by the glass doors. If you hear scrambles. Wow, okay, wow. You know when muscle memory, you do something so many times and then you try to do it again and it goes away as if you never knew what that command was. All right, so I just made a fill layer with 50% gray so that I can start doing some dodge and burn. I'm going to do it now because I don't think it's going to change. I don't think I'm going to be changing my preferences much when I'm adding some filters. And I'd rather do it now than try to work with it later. And I would like to start with black. And then you take it way down. Oh, blast my brushes. I forgot something happened to my brushes. As they often do. It's so annoying. Just make sure I have it before I now have to start over. Yep. Chewy. Why do my brushes change? Not particularly blaming you. Just very... Should I use a moist brush? Okay, so what I'm looking for is like the default brush that I always thought that I had used in the past. You want me to smear a moist brush all over this? But basically, I need it to not be wet or dry. I need it to be how much, the opacity. I just need that, and I do this so much, and it's so annoying because now, like, if I try to change this, it's not going to do the right thing. Like if I did, yeah. Ugh. I am annoyed. I'm going to set everything to 5 and see what happens. I don't paint, so references like mix, is that mixing wet and dry? I don't know. All right, it's fine. It'll do. It'll do. Drop the flow, yeah. Oh, it's probably cut off on the top. I was just trying to eliminate anything that didn't seem to matter much. Oh, great. Eric. Never trust what that's going to be when you do that. Oh, let me guess. It had something to do with moist. Great. All right. So I just want to keep adding this depth element. I'll probably lighten a few areas, or I won't. We'll see. Do what I want. But what is shadowed? I would like more shadowed. And then I will be highlighting parts of her face as well. Give it a little bit more contrast, a little bit more depth. Probably thinking, what's it really do? Why put this much effort into this instead of just doing contrast? You have a lot more control. And if there's something I love in this world, it is control. Always admit that. The difference of 1,000 small changes. Exactly. It might just be in our heads, but you know what? Our heads are important places. I should probably fix this. I should probably fix my thing back. Content aware. There we go. It's better. And sometimes I do like to try to remove seams if it's going to be easy enough. Because if you've learned anything from my editing style, it's that I'm lazy. Definitely don't overdo things to ridiculous amounts. That is better. All right, now let's do some highlighting. Apparently I'm allergic to good weather, which is a little annoying. I've never had allergies before, and here we are. Goodness gracious, cats. Doing slightly more artistic-like elements is going to be a little hard for me. It's not my forte. Shadows are easy enough because they're straightforward. But highlight, I find highlight slightly more complicated. It's one interesting thing about doing the face paint that I've been doing for the play days, because that is stuff that I have extreme difficulty with. I just don't think in those terms, and so it's been interesting teaching myself how to think a little bit more artistically with that. I don't know if it shows, and that's okay if it doesn't, but I'm trying, and that counts, right? I especially liked yesterday's because I hated it so much until I added a couple more elements to it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think it's working. And that, I can tell you, is a good feeling, even if it's wrong. Should just highlight some of this in the shadow, which will add a little bit of depth to it, is my theory. Yeah. Not bad. Shut up. Eric, you're like the little voice inside my head that warns me about what people are actually thinking. Well, I think your username is, you didn't even have to say it. All you had to do was just show up. I miss Imgur and the element of gimmick. Wrong way. Let's do a little bit. Nah, we'll keep it with these. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to do that thing that Chewy loves. Just going to add a little Gaussian blur just to soften some of that. I should probably do it to a level that I can actually tell if it is working. There we go. Okay, now I do think about what my plan is before I start to edit, but doesn't mean that I stay on the plan or that I remember the plan. There we go. And let's go into color effects, because I do have fun in there as much as I complain about it. Oh, actually one thing I should do made her goggles. Isn't that fun? I'm going to put this on, no, not, yeah, screen, and then high pass at 2, not screen. Which one is it? I haven't done this in a while. Overlay. And then I'm just going to make sure that's just on her eyes because I'm going to do a little skin smoothing, and this will help keep my details. What am I doing? Oh, yeah, that. Oh, wait, don't want wet, I want flow. Why do you do this to me? What are you? Why have a brush that stops working? Not painting. All right. I am going into, so don't let me forget to switch screens. We're going into color effects. I do have that set up. Stop fighting with me. Ha! Do you see it? Do you see it now? There we go. Good job, computer. It's mostly just us fighting. Computer and me. All right, so in this, I'm going to be adding like some stuff like this. I just don't know which. I don't know exactly what yet. But I do want something a little bit more fantasy. I've done all of the basics now. Let's see. I also love how long it takes. Like, I am seeing what you're seeing. That's the one minus. All right. Usually I'll use one of the filters I've made as sort of a base just so I can use all of those filters again, but not the same way. I think this is the one I made last time, so we'll start here. I really need to save my own presets, yeah. Exactly. But that's the thing. I save all of these presets. I have like 100 of them because I then start from scratch and do it again and again. So you're probably one ahead by just skipping the step where you pretend like you're actually doing something. All right, so I'd like to see where my color is exactly. I do like that coming in, but I want it just hitting her face. I like the warmth it adds. Let's do right, oh no, not that far. Right there, and then blend it to about middle. Let's move it just a little bit. Right there. Okay, excellent. I always forget that I have to check past my glasses, which are purple. So at the end, I usually add a little bit of a purple filter so that you're seeing what I'm seeing. Let's it's adding in that purple. So let's do that, and then let's see exactly what color it's doing. Let's do a purple blue. these kinds of filters are hard for me because I don't like losing like that depth. And so if my dark colors become a color, it bothers me. I always have two pictures. Oh, okay. Bye, Sean. I love how angry you enter and how angrily you leave. Hi, it's art. Looks good. Goodbye. That's how all art galleries should be. Come in, yell at the art and the artists about, you know, the styles that you enjoy, and then you leave. Let me see you. Reveal yourself. Oh, I was like, why isn't this work? Maybe I should turn it on. That might help. Okay. Don't like it. That's fine. Yikes. All right. And that's another thing that bothers me about myself, because it's like, is this just extreme subtlety? Is it worth it? I think so. But I don't know. I think it makes a difference in the end. I like to believe it does. And if Chewy agrees with me, it doesn't count because we're two alike. All right. If you disagree, well, that'd be interesting. Okay, do you disagree? Let's answer that first. Kind of like this. Why are you guys fighting each other? There are plenty of squirrels and rabbits for you to pretend you're hunting together. Oh, is it a lizard now? Lizards are so smart. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. You can't hide from me. All right, do I like this on... I think I just like it on the dress. I don't know why. All right, you know what? I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to pretend I don't like you. And I'm moving on. Why am I... I'm just sitting here and my nose is slowly trying to suffocate me. And no, it didn't grow extremely long and wrap around my neck. Although, that's terrifying. Also, that would make a very interesting Star Wars character. Because they always have those long noses. Could you off yourself by suffocating yourself with your own nose? What if your nose was wrapped around your neck and then you got electrocuted or shocked? I have not played Little Nightmares 2. Oh dear. Is that a thing that happens? All right, I'm liking... Cross-processing seems a lot like black and white. Okay, there's a teacher who has a neck that stretches really far and it's just so creepy. Oh. Well, if their neck is incredibly long and they met someone with an extremely long nose, then there could be danger there. I saw one I liked and I don't know. Maybe I don't like it that much if I can't find it again. Thank you, Natty. I'm doing those annoyingly small little edits that we are required to do, but make almost no discernible difference. Guys, cats are very competitive over things they can't have. Now, yeah, taking you on my annoying journey with me of working on something for way too long and then realizing you don't like it. This is just going to play with the highlights, and I don't know. Well, I guess that one isn't too bad. Kind of like... Is that too subtle? All right. That's it. All right, guys. Prepare yourselves. Because Natty has initiated a battle. May the best avatar win. It doesn't really do much. And if I'm saying that... Chewy, do you use NYX filters? I only just started exploring them last year. If you hear a door opening somewhere in the distance, that's my cat opening a door. Not like pulling down the handle to push it open. No. She pulls it open. There is no safe place. You're an affinity photo. I downloaded it at a sample or a try. I told Natty that's her next move. I think that you can use NYX filters in Affinity, and it is great. If I didn't have to use Adobe for work, then I would absolutely switch to there. Oh, who won? Who won? Oh, Agressor. He is he's a relative of mine, so I swear that was not favoritism. Who was second up? Who got second? One of you has to admit it. Okay, excellent. Did you get second, Chewy? Nice. But not good enough. All right, I have been able to use skin filter to iron dresses, so I don't think it's going to work, but let's see. Good enough for government work. We so often said that while doing government work. That doesn't seem to have done. Oh, the opacity. It's always the opacity. Helped a little bit, but might have smoothed it too much. You know, it does make it subtler. Subtler. I don't need to smooth out highlights. Okay, let's check to see how invasive this is going to be for her skin. And then we're almost done. actually not that bad. Sometimes it just takes out too much, but because we were working with so pixelated because of the water, that ain't too shabby. Let me just see if I can be a little pickier here. You know what? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take that out. Hey, it worked. Going back into Photoshop. Give myself an extra copy. Going back into color effects. See if it pops up or if it's gonna need help. You're gonna need some help, huh? Well, it says that it's seeing it. Ah, there we go. Okay. The new astrophotography stacking and affinity is amazing. Ooh, that sounds nice. I was doing layering with dolls. So strange. I was taking pictures of their mother in the, like, over 50 years ago, made porcelain or ceramic, I think it was, dolls in a oven. Like, she'd craft the clothing and all of that, just amazing pieces, and then heated in a kiln. And so I was taking historical photos of the models. What am I doing? I'm doing skin smoothing. I always forget what it's called. Dynamic skin softener. And so I was doing, what's it called? The other word for stacking, so that I could get really, really sharp detail. And it took forever, but the results were very satisfying. But the system in Photoshop is kind of a pain, so I'm glad to know that there is something else to try. All right, let's just do that. And then I am fine with removing some of this because it's art. Dagnabbit. Sometimes I just have to see what something is doing. All right, that's good. Ah. Fine. My violent actions of confirmation. Okay. Subtle like I like it. Now I am going to do, I think I want to do a little modeling on her face. Again, sometimes just phrases make sense in context, but then when you notice how weird they sound without that context, it gives you pause. Still don't know what you are. I meant to reset my brushes. Back on the list of things to do. I call that learning. I knew you were going to pop up as soon as I said that. Why aren't you letting me? Strange. All right. Starting to know you guys too well. Now, I don't know exactly why I decided to get as far away as possible to check that. My vision isn't that great. Then... Great. And then I'm going to try generally I like beauty on the background and portrait on the person, on the topic, on the model. It's a bit rude. Oh yeah. I just like how that smoothed out a lot of things a bit more too. So I would like to just take that here. Oh. I should probably do that in the right color too. That might help. No? I really hate it when my brushes do this. It's not going to let me do this right. Okay, not wet. Okay, there we go. Okay. I think I got the light blend here. All right, so it's just got that nice softness to it. Now I'm gonna see if I want the portrait on her. I probably won't. I generally like one or the other, but let's find out. Yeah, it's too flat. Okay, let's just do a little bit more lighting. And then call it. soften just a bit. Yeah, I'm not minding that. I'm gonna just go a little bit darker on the edge. Excellent. Still not sure if I like this. Let's try taking it out. There's always something. I just can't seem to help it. I love it when parts of their flesh and faces show up in the change. Yeah, I like that a lot better. It feels more balanced. It's always a piece that just won't die. There we go. Okay. It's like a little man speaking to me in the distance. I'm assuming the song has that in it, or I'm going mad again. Cool. Just take down that to even things out, make it a little bit more universe-y. That is when I do like bubbles. If I can get them to play nice, then they can look very pretty. I'll bring the light back in a second. All right. I think I'm gonna call it for this one until I do 1,000 other things as soon as I finish. But thank you all so much for joining me for this edit. That was really fun. I'm enjoying these, especially now that I start them a little later in the day. So have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and I hope you all have a great... Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Chewy. Please be my moderator. All right, hold on. Let me get that set up. Duplicate. Okay, so I'll just open it in Photoshop. That'll be a lot easier. This is our before. Our lovely model, Al. And this is our after, with color editing, some dodge and burn, a little bit of cleanup, and frequency separation reskinning. We've reskinned our model, folks. Thank you guys so much. That was very fun. Oh, and a little lens adjustment, of course, as well. But I think that brought out the elements of the story that I wanted to show. Some great confidence. Oh gosh. Thank you. That's a huge compliment. Very much enjoyed doing this with you guys. That was a blast. It actually is so much easier to edit with you guys here than it is typically alone, and took me probably half the time, believe it or not. I was a little bit more streamlined with you guys to focus on. So thank you again, and have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to you better look forward to next Monday, where we'll be back editing something new. Aggressive outro done. All right, thanks guys.